but I was never into the business. And 6 months into the business, the interesting part is he took all the money with him. People often mistake that without a good website, there is no good search engine optimization. The focus should be on leads and not just traffic. One, I always look at a website from two perspectives. One is the user, which even Google themselves say that it should be user first. Second is the search engine, Google, Bing, you name it, whichever it is. You don't need blog articles for SEO.
The most important thing is the structure of the website and the content you are posting.
Depends on the industry, depends on how well you connect with your audience, and depends on how well you do the technical aspects so that Google quickly understands what you're trying to tell.
8% of people who used to go to Google to learn how to do something, they are going to ChatGPT to learn how to do something.
ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, any of those AI. Take that same prompt and do it in two different windows in ChatGPT itself. You will get two different results that these AI engines can pick quickly and give an answer to the user. With AI coming in and the speed at which it can scrape data and analyze data, my assumption based on my experience is it's going to get more technical. These are the techniques that will convert your traffic into an inquiry.
Creating content on the internet is no longer for humans anymore. It's for AI.
But what it lacks is experience. And that is very important. That's where case studies come in. Don't need to write a blog article, just write case studies, because it's better to have 10 people come to your website and 5 people contact you versus 1,000 people come to your website and no one contact you.
What makes the world go round is top about that cha-ching sound like we count bills by the pound is.
Welcome to another episode of ROI Mindset Podcast, the podcast made by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. I'm Rilo Tavares, your host, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Karan Keswani. He's a search engine optimization specialist, which means he doesn't just build websites. He builds websites that show up at the top of Google search results and much more. Karan leads the Web Geeks company, and today he's going to share with us how AI is about to change the world and how AI can help your business get found online, increasing your sales. Karan, it's a pleasure to have you here. I really appreciate that. How are you feeling?
Well, excited and happy to share the information I know. It's always my way of doing it, educate people, and trying to do that today.
I'm really glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So you are one of the most knowledgeable person I ever met.
Thank you.
And more than applying what you do, because I'm really sure you're really good what you do, you teach people, right?
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons when I found you, I thought it was a great idea to have you here.
Sounds good.
So can you tell us more a little bit about yourself, like what you do, how you getting into this kind of business, how long have you been doing that stuff? So feel free to introduce yourself.
Okay, great. So I'll start with a funny story.
Right.
It's funny today. Well, I did my engineering and did my MBA, everything in tech, which I've been a techie all my life probably. But I was never into the business. I joined into business with a friend of mine from college who asked me to join him, where he was the back-end guy who would design and develop things. And I was just the client-facing person because I could explain things better. And 6 months into the business, he just absconded. He just took off. And the interesting part is he took all the money with him. And I was left with clients. I think we had about 4 clients that time. I was left with the clients, incomplete work, no money. What do I do? So eventually what I had to do was learn it myself, learn to design, learn to code. Took me a year to finish those 4 projects, get done with it. And during that process, I just realized I just like this so much. And I did that for a lot of years before I started hiring people and eventually hired a big team, which I had to completely shut off when I moved to Canada in 2019. And then I started again from scratch. But today it's a very lean business and I just enjoy what I do. And it gives me pleasure when I see my clients getting results and them saying, oh, I got this client and I made so much money and it's all because of you. I'm like, I'm just doing what I know best. If it works, great for you. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and it's noticeable that you like what you do based on the way you talk about SEO, right?
Yeah.
So for people who are watching us, what is SEO? It means search engine optimization. So Karan, can you give us a brief explanation about how it can help businesses rank on top of Google, for example, and the work you do behind the scenes to make websites visible?
Sure. So search engine optimization, as you rightly said, is optimizing your website. So at the end of the day, it's about a website. It also includes other aspects, but people often mistake that without a good website, there's no good search engine optimization. And the problem that I've seen in my business, in my industry, is everyone's focused on traffic. Traffic does not bring you revenue. Leads do. So the focus should be on leads and not just traffic. And the easiest way to do SEO is, one, I always look at a website from two perspectives. One is the user, which even Google themselves say that it should be user first. Second is the search engine, Google, Bing, you name it, whichever it is. Because the way a user sees a website is very different than the way a Google or a Bing sees the website. So we have to ensure that the website looks good to your end audience, but at the same time, it's easily crawlable and indexable and categorizable for the search engine, which is the technical part of it, which can be tricky and is often neglected by many SEO agencies. They just think, I've heard so many times people say, oh, I have not created blog article for SEO. You don't need blog articles for SEO. The idea is quality over quantity. I have a client who's a CFO in Vancouver and she ranks number 2 with just a one-page website. So to do a good website that ranks higher depends on the industry, depends on how well you connect with your audience, and depends on how well you do the technical aspects so that Google quickly understands what you're trying to tell them.
What you're telling me is, Murillo, doesn't matter if my website is beautiful, colorful, nice photos. The most important thing is the structure of the website and the content you are posting.
It's both. For Google, it's the structure and the technical content. For the user, it could be photos as well as colors. Colors will, of course, come from branding. Of course, we cannot change that. Google might tell you that, okay, your colors are too contrasting or they are not too contrasting. We don't change that because that's brand colors. But at the same time, for a user, you don't want something like a dark scheme, like a dark background and a yellow color. That's too contrast for a user, right? So you could just subtle it down a bit and make it easily, because people don't read content. That's the harsh truth. They skim content. So you need to know which words to highlight, which words you want user to catch attention on, and learn that how you are an expert and have the experience of doing certain things so that they go ahead and hire you.
I'm glad you're talking about that, because I think the way people are searching on the internet are changing, right?
Yep.
And AI is taking over
Yep.
of the portion of researches that people do on the internet.
Yep.
So how is Google AI or ChatGPT are changing the way people find information online?
So it started with just informational query. So typically when we look at SEO, we look at what's the intent behind the search, right? So we categorize it into 5: local, commercial, technical, transactional, informational, and navigational, right? The most important ones where people will hire you as a service provider is the commercial and the local query, right? So the informational query is where you're trying to ask a question to ChatGPT, let's say, or ask a question to Google, is like, how to fix this issue. That's informational. I'm trying to get information. I'm not trying to hire you or hire your services for helping me. I just want to know more. I'm doing my own research. Those kind of searches are going a lot towards Gemini or ChatGPT or Perplexity, all those AI engines, which, as per a recent study by Neil Patel, who's one of the biggies in the digital marketing industry, is 8% of all the searches in the world.
Okay.
So 8%.
Let's make a point here.
Yeah.
So if in my website, I'm teaching people, for example, how to use a cell phone, this kind of content, how to something, represents only 88% of the searches on the internet.
No, it is more searches, but 8% of those type of searches are going to ChatGPT, which previously went to Google the traditional way.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So 8% of people who used to go to Google
Yeah.
to learn how to do something, they are going to
ChatGPT,
ChatGPT to
yeah.
learn how to do something.
ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, any of those AI engines.
Right. And these 8% of searches prefer ChatGPT. And how does ChatGPT collect this information? It comes from all over the internet?
Usually, yes, but the main search engine. So every AI has to have a search engine driving the content to them. Like for Gemini, if you answer a question to Gemini, the results that you will see in Gemini will be in sync with what you see on Google search, right? Same for ChatGPT. Their main search engine that feeds them is Bing, which is Microsoft.
Perfect.
So they're currently doing Bing, but last 3-4 days or so, there has been a deal between OpenAI, that's who owns ChatGPT, and Microsoft, Google Cloud Services, where they're going to work together with each other. So there is a possibility that ChatGPT might start scraping a lot of more data from Google too. But you know what? Google's going to be smart. They're not going to let ChatGPT take away everything and make their Gemini useless.
Yeah, but like thinking from another perspective,
Yeah.
all this information is public on the internet.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So the only thing is the search engine, like you mean the method ChatGPT uses to collect this information is based on Microsoft Bing algorithm.
Mostly yes.
Okay. But the information is the same for
Absolutely.
anybody.
Yeah. It's just the different way of processing. Like if you do a same query in Gemini and same in ChatGPT, you'll get different results,
Okay, gotcha.
right? And if you ask, like I've done this test with a junk removal business, is I took that same query saying, can you recommend me a junk removal business, let's say in Burnaby, right? And if you take that same prompt and do it in 2 different windows in ChatGPT itself, you will get 2 different results.
Guys, pay attention to that. So can you repeat that?
Yeah.
You made the same question
Yes.
for ChatGPT,
Yes.
recommending a junk removal company
In Burnaby,
in Burnaby,
yes.
and you got 2 different answers.
Yes.
It means the way it provides you the output is not consistent.
It's not consistent. It's been better over years, but it's still not consistent. Like if you go in Google search and you do junk removal Burnaby, even if you like open 3 different browsers from the same location, you will 99% of the time see the same results. But with ChatGPT, if you sit here, do that on your phone right now, you will see 2 different results. There will be some overlap, but it will still be 2 different results.
That's huge.
Yes.
Because it actually connects with my next question.
Mm-hmm.
How can small businesses make sure their content gets picked up by AI?
Okay.
Right? I'm thinking the future.
Sure.
So what should I do as an entrepreneur to have my website in the top 1 of the companies that relates or show up on AI? I'm talking about ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever.
Okay. So to understand that, it's first important to understand how traditionally search works, right, on the internet. It's simple. Google or any of these browsers or any of these search engines don't understand what you and me do, right? They don't know how to fix up a toilet. They don't know how to haul away junk. What they do is they pick up certain words, compare against what they know, push it to the user, see how they react. If the reaction is positive and the user ends their query, they rank you up. If they see the reaction is negative, or if the user went back and went to a competitor, they rank you down. So that's typically how it works. Now, with time, this has changed with reviews coming in, with social signals coming in. There are a lot of factors that affect. There are about 200 factors that we know of. Again, no one knows Google's algorithm, but that's what has been deduced over years by the experts and the big experts in the industry. So with AI coming in and the speed at which it can scrape data and analyze data, my assumption based on my experience is it's going to get more technical. And I've done this for my own clients, and I've seen them jump from page 10 to page 1 within a day on Bing, right? Just by submitting their website. So it's going to get more technical. How quickly can the AI scrape your website and get the information that it's looking for versus just the old way of doing it. So you need to make sure that the information that you have is in snippets. That's what I said, skimmable. The information has to be skimmable, which can get converted into snippets that these AI engines can pick quickly and give an answer to the user.
In a more user-friendly manner, what does it mean?
So,
because now it's quite technical.
no,
right?
I understand. Okay, let's try and simplify. Let me educate in that way. So let's say I want you to tell me how to fix my own bulb, right? Like this bulb is no more working. I need to change that, right? So I could write a paragraph about it, explaining you why you need to change the bulb, or why you need this bulb, or why 60 watt, why not 40 watt, or either way, right? That's a lot of information. Now, AI is not going to go through that and find out, okay, how do I actually do that, right? But in case if you take the same content and make it bullet points, say, okay, use 60 watt because this is the reason why. Take off the existing bulb by rotating it in a certain way, then keep it somewhere, take the new one, put it in the anti-clockwise direction, and then test it out. So you put that as bullet points. Now what happened there is the paragraph just became like skimmable bullets.
Gotcha.
So AI will easily skim that. It might not even go through all 4 points. It just sees 1 and 2 points. It's like, okay, probably you're talking about is right? So I'll just take it on face value and show it. So it did not need to go through the entire paragraph, find out what the steps would be, whereas you gave it the steps that it needs.
Fantastic.
Right? So it's more snippets.
All right. That information worth $1 million for
Okay,
sure.
sure. Thank you.
And I think it's extremely important to repeat that. For AI to recognize your website
Yep.
or your industry or your niche or you as an authority, it's extremely important to break down information in your website.
Yep.
Especially into steps where AI can easily understand what you're saying.
Yep.
Guys, that's extremely important because it changes the way we create content
Yep.
on the internet.
I'll give a simple example again, is when you write a content for a blog article, for a web page, whichever way, right? Whatever words you feel are important, just bold them up. Just do a bold emphasis. That's it. And it will become more skimmable because people will just quickly, when you're reading through content, right? Those bold words catch your eye and you will end up only reading those words. So you can fill in the information fluff that you need, but at the same time highlight these words which are important, which will quickly show the user what you're trying to highlight, and they will connect with one of those words and they'll get in touch with you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. Another $1 million advice.
Well, I'll take the $1 million.
So what else people can do?
I have a blog article completely written for it. I can share it with you if you can. But simple tips is make your paragraphs no more than 2 sentences. That's my way of writing. So, and I follow this guy called Brian Dean, who sold his company Backlinko for a 7-figure sum to SEMrush. And his way of writing is 2 sentences max, make a paragraph, sometimes even 1 sentence per paragraph. Enough spacing on your website so that it's easy to read. Font size, people often neglect it. Font size definitely needs to be as per your target audience. If your target audience is, let's say, someone in their 40s, you need font which is slightly bigger for someone like me to read. I need my specs to read it, right? If your font's like really too small, I will not be able to read it, and that could piss me off, right? So that's something you have to look at. These are called CRO, conversion rate optimization techniques, not the traditional SEO techniques, but these are the techniques that will convert your traffic into an inquiry.
The way you're saying, and that's my perception, creating content on the internet, especially text, is no longer for humans anymore. It's for AI.
Mostly yes, but again, high quality. Like you don't want an electrician's website to have 3,000 pages. Does not make sense. Why would an electrician's website have 3,000 pages, right? It could have 3,000 pages over 10 years, 20 years, understood. But in a year, if you have like 3,000 blog articles, on a local electrician's page in Vancouver on a website,
Under the same domain.
it does not make sense, right? Because it's like you're trying to scam into it, right? And many people with AI coming in, it's very easy to create text content.
Yes.
Extremely easy to create text content, right? And AI will give you expertise. Like you tell it, okay, can you behave like a chiropractor and tell me what to do here? It will behave like a chiropractor because it's scraping all the data from all the chiropractic websites out there. But what it lacks is experience. And that is very important. That's where case studies come in. Don't need to write a blog article, just write case studies, because it's better to have 10 people come to your website and 5 people contact you versus 1,000 people come to your website and no one contact you, right? So the focus is on experience, expertise, authority, and trust. Like if I give you advice on business versus Richard Branson gives you advice on business, of course, you got to listen to Richard Branson, right?
100%.
But when the same 2 people give you advice on SEO, you better listen to me, though not Richard Branson, right? Because he has no clue about it. So authority and trust makes a lot of difference.
Can I add something?
Sure.
It might like overlap experience, but what I've been suggesting to my customers a lot from the social media side, and we're going to talk about social media soon, is about expressing opinion.
Yes.
Why? AI can create content,
Yeah.
but AI cannot give its own opinion,
Yep.
right? And giving opinion makes you an authority.
Yep.
Regardless if you're right
Yep.
or wrong,
Yep.
it makes you an authority.
Yep.
Thus, expressing opinion in your website also can increase your visibility when AI is using all the search engines to rank you.
Yeah. So opinion is a type of experience, right? If you say, okay, I give you an opinion, do this. But if I don't back it with saying, oh, this is what I've done, that's why I'm telling you this, then it is of no use. You need to back your opinion with an experience, something that you have done.
Or a study.
Studied, whatever. Something that you can prove that yes, this works, or yes, this is true, right? Because of this experience, right? So simple way of me doing that in my websites is the FAQs section, which is frequently asked questions. I always tell my clients is for a question, answer first, then explain why. Because an AI engine or a search engine is going to look at your answer first. It will take the answer and then based on the answer that it gives to the user, it will explain. So that's a style that I've started using and it works. I've got clients whose information has been picked up by Google snippets, by Google search questions, even by Gemini and ChatGPT.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's a great stuff. So, and the more we ended up like investigating how AI is going to rank information on the internet, the more we understand that content created by AI will not be the most favorite kind of content for AI search engines, right?
I agree.
So the human factor is still a thing when creating content.
Yeah, and the best way to do is prove it, right? So Neil Patel, I'll refer to Neil Patel, Brian Dean a lot because I follow these guys and these guys have been in the business for years, right? And they have the means and the money to do all these studies. So Neil Patel did this study last month or so where he created 744 articles across 68 websites. He created both human written article versus AI written article, which was slightly edited by humans, right? He saw that the human written article ranks and converts 5x better than a AI written article.
That's huge.
Yeah. So that's like, you might get a lot of impressions, but at the end of the day, you may not get the conversions, which is what drives your business. And having said that, Google now started doing manual penalties for websites where it feels that they're giving out content, but which is not valuable, which is called thin content, right? So generic content without experience, without expertise, authority, trust, like which is Google's EEAT guidelines. So if it feels it's not right, it will just de-index you. And if you keep doing that regularly, it would just de-index your entire site.
Fantastic.
It's like you're wasting my time because we need to understand whatever we do on the internet when we create a website and tell Google, this is my website, bring me more business. For us, it's free, right? Of course, you will pay for the service provider who created it, but you're not paying a single penny to Google. But let's say if Google goes through one page of yours and it has to store that information somewhere in a database, or it has to use the time and bandwidth to index that page, right? It's costing them money. And if you consider it's 1 cent per page, there are billions of pages out there. So it's probably costing them $1 million a day to index all the pages out there. Why would Google waste their money on this if you are giving it information that's not valuable for them?
You ended up like getting fired by Google,
Maybe,
right?
yeah.
And your domain is over.
Yeah, absolutely. And once it's blacklisted, that's what it's technically called.
That's it.
It's very difficult to recover.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult to recover.
Maybe not even paid ads can save you.
I mean, you have to just change your domain. With paid ads, you don't care about the domain. You could have xyz.com and use it because it's about the content rather than the domain for ads.
Yeah.
But for SEO, it's about the domain.
It's about the domain.
Yeah, it's the domain authority. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, very insightful
Great.
conversation. And I'm really sure that all the entrepreneurs who are extremely pay attention to this AI moving, right? This AI trend will take this conversation as extremely valuable conversation. So another thing that we cannot skip is about zero-click leads. Can you give us an explanation? What is this zero-click leads?
Okay.
What's going to happen? What's coming next? I have a business and I'm concerned how I will get leads from my website. What does that mean?
okay. So first, we need to know metrics, right? So as of today, 8%, as I said, 8% of the searches are going towards AI platforms like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini. This will grow. This was 0 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's gone to 8%. The biggies in my industry are thinking that it would go to like 15, 16% in the next 2-3 years. My understanding and my prediction for it is about 20 to 25% of the searches, especially for local service-based businesses, where someone's trying to hire, let's say, a painter, or a junk removal company, or a CPA, or an accountant. All of these searches will still be traditional. But having said that, those 25%, 30%, which will go towards AI engines, is going to make that difference. So you're going to lose 30% from Google, but you're going to gain that 30% somewhere else. So how do you want to do that? Now, understand this scenario. I'll give you an example of one of my clients. So they are a senior home care business, in-home care business in North Vancouver. And the other day, last week, they got their first ever zero-click client. Now, how did that happen? So their client whom they got, they went to ChatGPT. They entered, can you recommend me senior in-home care business in North Vancouver? And ChatGPT gave them an answer that this is the business that you can connect with. And it gave them the reasons why you should connect with this business, along with the contact number of that business.
It means this person did not click in their website.
No, they just saw the number in that result, dialed up from their phone, and directly gave them a call. And because this client has been working with me for more than a year now, she immediately screenshotted that and sent it to me. It's like, I got my first ever AI client. I'm like, great, sounds good. And that will not show in your Google Analytics metrics because there was no one who went to your website. But ultimately, it was a lead, right? So that's what is zero-click leads.
The same happens when you type down Google, let's say restaurant near me,
Yep.
and Google Maps recommend you something,
Yep.
right? So I can definitely call to this business,
Yep.
right? And reserve a table.
Yep.
So it's zero-click lead.
It is yes, but there is still a way to track it because Google Business Profile has its own tracking mechanism. So you will see that under the performance tab in Google Business Profile. But with AI, there is no way to track for
track
Google or
anything.
Bing, right?
I see your point.
Because it's more conversational. It's not direct search query. It's conversational.
in this example that I share with you, I will probably click on the number
Yep.
through my phone,
Yep.
which will be traceable, right?
Yep.
So someone can check that I
Exactly.
click through the ad
Yes.
or through Google.
Yep.
So in this example, if I'm using ChatGPT, I will simply check the number. I will close ChatGPT. I will
Yep.
type down the number and a call.
Yeah. You
right?
could just be searching on your laptop and see the number there and like type it from your phone.
Is not nobody can track it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way to track it unless and until the business themselves ask, "Oh, where did you find us?"
I see.
Right?
Yeah, it's a good way.
Yeah.
And how does it change like the website interaction? Because I think like people will stop typing restaurants near me and they will start typing the best Italian restaurant
Correct.
in my area.
Correct.
And ChatGPT will use its criteria
Yeah.
to give me some restaurants, some Italian restaurants.
Yeah.
And let's say they
So-
will define the best restaurant in their opinion.
So I did this test again. I've been doing some tests with ChatGPT and Gemini
Great.
and see how they reply. So I've done this test, the same going back to the junk removal example in Burnaby. When it gave me two different answers, right? I just asked ChatGPT, it's like, on what basis did you decide and give me these listings? And it defined some criteria. Again, these are as of today. These could change in the future.
Okay.
So as of today, it defined as how long the business has been functioning, let's say 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Which areas does it serve? So mentioning how many years you have been in business, that's important on your website. Areas you serve, you should mention that on your website, right? Why you, like, what's your USP? You should mention that on your website. Reviews, Google also pulls up reviews, but ChatGPT also goes through reviews. But here's the trick. ChatGPT does not have its own review system. Where do you think it gets their reviews?
I know the answer. The first one is Google My Business, but
Yes.
you explained me they go to Yelp
Yes.
and all these other
Yes.
platforms that
Yes.
people can post reviews.
So you can do the same. So you can, if you go to bing.com and search, let's say junk removal Burnaby, you will see something like a map section, but the reviews you see there will not be Google Business Profile reviews. It could be Facebook reviews, it could be Yelp reviews, Yellow Pages, Triple B reviews, any of these.
That's one of the main reasons that a digital presence is more important
Yes.
than ever before.
It exactly is. And the value of these sites, these directory sites, we call it as citations, has just gone up multifold because of a tool like ChatGPT. Because it's no more just relying on Google Business Profile reviews. You got to start getting reviews everywhere possible because you don't know where the AI is going to get its reviews from. So the more reviews you get, the better it is. And having said that, it needs to be keyword rich reviews. So just getting a review saying, "Oh, great service," not enough. Ask your client to detail out what the review is. Detail out mention the name of the person who helped them if there is a multi-person company. Where are they located? What was their problem? How did we solve it? And would you recommend us ahead? So these are certain factors that they can write in the review. And if you're responding to it, you also have to respond in a detailed way. Let's say if your customer does not give you a detailed review, that's fine. You have the chance to respond it by making it keyword rich. So you could just add the keywords and reply saying, "This is what we need to do." So these things are going to help AI find it because, as I said, they're going to pick up information. It's snippets, right? How easy it is to go through your last 10 reviews.
And Karan, I have to tell you, more than ever, it's important to do not concentrate your business visibility in one single platform. Because even if I have a Facebook review, it's going to support my business to rank on the AI searches, right? It means I can have 100 reviews on my Google profile and none on my Facebook page. However, AI probably will compare. We don't know exactly how this mechanism work, but if you have no reviews on Facebook, might be a red flag, right? Since you have a profile. So you need to explore all these avenues, all these possibilities in order to make a AI understand that you are an authority in your niche.
It depends on the AI. Like Gemini will always focus more on Google. Business profile reviews because it's their own platform and they trust it. But someone like ChatGPT who does not have their own platform, they will just go all around. Perplexity, they will just go all around, right? So though Google is still the biggest player out there, and one of the interviews that I saw of Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, he still says Google will remain one of the biggest players, which is there. But the 20% that goes away from Google, if you get like one inquiry from there,
Yeah.
it's still business, right?
It's still business.
It's still business. And plus, when you get an inquiry from online, you don't just get that client, you get that client's network too. Because you know what, if someone's happy with my service and anyone in their network asks them about a SEO specialist, guess whom they're going to refer? Hopefully me.
Exactly.
So it's like I don't get that client, I get their entire network.
Yeah.
Right. So that's
Yeah.
where it is.
And plus, from one single client, we have the LTV concept,
Yeah, yeah.
lifetime value,
Lifetime value,
right?
yeah.
This customer probably will come back.
Yep.
And this 30%, 20 to 30% that a Google already predicts they will lose in terms of market share
Mm-hmm.
or searches will definitely open the doors for other business
Yep,
who
yep.
are not ranking on Google, or
Yep.
they do not care to rank on Google, right?
Yep.
Because they will focus on AI or how to top high on AI searches.
It will happen, but at the same time, 80% still remains the same. The process, 80% still remains the same. So an SEO specialist today, whatever they do, except for the regular content creation, like the ones who only focus on creating repeated content, that's not the great strategy. But optimizing each and every page and having the relevant pages, that is still going to be key for AI. Because AI at the end of the day is going to scrap that information about you from your website. So the importance of your website, the way it looks, the way you can skim content, the way you can get quickly crawled and indexed by algorithm or AI is going to matter a lot.
Yeah, I think the website is the foundation of everything.
Yes.
And the second thing is social media.
Yep.
Right? Because you might have a very good presence online, and when I say online is your website might be a very strong website.
Yeah.
However, you also have, I saw this new information that 70%, 75% of the Canadian population spends 31 hours monthly, especially the Generation X, on social media, and including TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
So that's huge,
Yeah.
right? They're spending 31 hours per month on social media. And these people, they consume on TikTok only $1.6 billion.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So how do you see this integration between visibility from your website and social media?
So there is a concept called social signaling, which is not a direct ranking factor for search engine optimization, but it is something that tells Google, Bing that yes, this is something that is picking up trend. So Google, Bing, and these search engines and even AI use social media to pick up on trends. So Reddit is a big platform there, where Reddit, Quora, these two platforms, these search engines use a lot. So if you search anything today, you will see in the top 10, you will have Reddit or Quora for sure, one of the listings there, right? So social signaling is always a big factor. Now, coming back to the other platforms where people are spending a lot of time, the importance of them depends on the business. So let's say if it's a realtor, right? I would always advise my clients who are a realtor and coming to me, I'm like, I'm not the right person for you. You should go create content for social media, because your lifespan of your listing is maybe a few months. And by the time search engine will start picking up on things and stabilize, your time would have gone. You would have probably sold that property.
And it's totally visual.
Absolutely, exactly. That's completely visual. So product-based businesses, social media is a platform to go. Because with Instagram, with Facebook, and many other platforms, giving you an option nowadays to directly click on a link from that post, from that video, and go to the page where you could purchase it is huge. So product-based businesses, social media is your place to go. Even certain service-based business, like I said, realtors, right? Business consultants, business coaches, platforms like YouTube is your place to go. Don't spend your money on SEO.
Car dealers.
Car dealers, yeah, exactly. Like those are more visuals. People just search on Google the best price. They don't try and see the car on Google, right? But if you could do like a video showcasing the interior and exterior of a car in a social media post and then saying, you know what, 2.99%, perfect. So just to use a thumb of rule that I use for myself and my clients is, if it's called as a push and a pull strategy. So push is where you're pushing information to the user so that you go in front of them multiple times and they finally, you know what, look like, oh, I now need it. I've been thinking of it for a long time, but it's now time to go. So for example, cars, right? The interest rates are low, I might as buy now. Interest rates are high, I can hold on. But someone like a plumber, so if the tap in your house is leaking, you're not going to go to social media and search that. You're going to go to Google, right? Or you're going to go to ChatGPT, right? So depending on your business, the platform might change. So product-based, 100% social media. Service-based, 80% Google, but 20% could still be social media. Someone like a realtor or a car dealership or something similar.
That's what I call, there is a difference between Google and social media.
Yeah.
Intent versus attention.
Yeah, agree.
Social media, we are fighting for attention.
100%.
When we compare to Google, you have an emergency.
Yes.
Right? So if the water is leaking in my house, I'll go to Google to see who can help me.
Yep.
If I'm looking for a new house or trying to change the decoration of my house, I will look for inspiration on social media, right? And more and more, I can see the importance of having a digital presence on both sides.
100%.
Because one complements the other one.
Yep.
If, for example, I'm a plumber and I know how to create content and I know how to interact with my audience, the next time I have a leak in my house, I will no longer go on Google, right? Because I have a person that I understand who is an authority on this niche. But on the other hand, if I'm not exploring this side, Google is still extremely strong.
At the end of the day, it's about people coming to you and knowing more about you, right? So social media will help you create brand awareness, right? So it's not always straightforward what works, what does not. So you could have seen my business somewhere, let's say, in a newspaper, and then you saw it for the second time in a social media post. Third time you heard about it from a friend. And when I was ready to hire someone like you, and that time I went to Google and searched, let's say, digital marketing specialist in Langley, right? And Google shows me 5 listings, and yours is the third one. I would first go to you because, you know what? I've heard about you 3 more times. I've got 3 more touch points in the past, and I recollect that name, and I will go to you rather than skip the first one, whom Google recommends. So that also could be a factor. Is it most of the times? Not very sure because we cannot track those metrics, but many times I always go by the numbers. If I see there is good amount of search volume and there is easy to rank and it's not very competitive, Google is your way to go. But if you need to reach out a lot of people, and as again, going to the realtor example where it's more visual, social media is a platform to go. But someone like a construction company or a home builder, both. Because people might search, but they also want to see what you have done.
Perfect.
So that's a classic example of mix of social media as well as search engine optimization.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm sure you heard about Google Facebook Pixel, right? One of the ways I bring results the most to my clients is when I connect Facebook Pixel, because it connects your website to your social media. Let's say you're a plumber and I found you through Google. The next post is going to show up in your Instagram or Facebook is the plumbing that you saw on Google, because it tracks you whenever you goes. So if you hate to see the same kind of ads all the time in your social media, it's because it's connected through your browser, and every website you connect with or you access will definitely transmit this message or let your social media know what you're looking for, right? And I get so much good results installing the Facebook Pixel to my clients, because it makes you, again, like you said, you show up on the internet and then repeatedly you see the same brand on your social media. You ended up believing that this person is chasing you, and in fact, this company is chasing you, right? Because you show interest in this brand or in this product or service,
Yep.
right? Is the best way to make results on the internet.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's about getting leads, getting business, right? And there's no right or wrong way to know what works for me, what does not. My typical go-to strategy, which I tell my clients, people whom I know, everyone in my network, is try everything for a year. The reason I say for a year is because everything's got a cycle. So for a naturopath or a chiropractor business or any wealth and wellness business, November and December are going to be the busiest months because people want to use up their extended benefits, right? But someone like a moving company, they could be maybe June because many people move in summer. So you cannot, if a moving company did ads, let's say during November and December, they would say it does not work because you did it in the wrong time. The search volume itself is low, right? So you have to do it for a year. Try all avenues possible for a year if you have the budget. And then the top 3 that work for you, just stick to them.
I love
That's it. Straightforward. That's the easiest way. And I've seen clients, even referrals. I would just not say digital, but referrals as well. It's like I've got clients who get a lot of business from ads, but they spend like $15,000 a month, and they get like 100 inquiries. Their cost per lead is like $150. And from SEO, they get like 20 inquiries, but they spend like $1,000. So their cost per lead is $50. So would I turn off Google ads? No, because you need the volume. The big company is big. So to gain that volume quickly, you need to do ads. Though it's expensive, but it's getting you volume. But at the same time, in the long run, to offset that, you have to keep doing your SEO because you need to expand so that you could reduce your expense on ads. So you have to find that right balance. And you can only do that by trial and error. There's no right way to do whether it's right or wrong. And there's no way for any SEO specialist in the world to guarantee your top 1 ranking. Google themselves say that on their website. No one can guarantee you rankings.
Lovely. Yeah, that's perfect.
So
I really like this comparison because the paid ads, for example, let's say is the steroid,
yeah,
right? To
yeah,
boost
absolutely.
you. And the SEO is something for long term
Yeah.
that is going to make your CAC, cost acquisition
Yes.
per customer,
Yeah.
or customer acquisition
Cost,
cost,
yeah.
Reduce over time.
Yes.
So extremely important to explore both ways
Yeah.
because it's more sustainable.
Yeah, and
Right.
SEO is slow. Whatever we do is like, let's say I make some changes today. For me to find out whether it really worked or not, first I cannot guarantee whether it worked or not, but I have to see which works. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks, and it could be even overnight. Like if I did something today, tomorrow it would just jump up 10 positions. But will it stay 10 positions up? No, it will eventually stabilize a bit down. So to know where it stabilizes, it takes about few weeks. And once I find out what the sweet spot is, then I just go ahead and replicate on other pages. So need to know, find out what the right strategy is. Could take time, but with ads, overnight you start paying money.
Yeah.
You are right at the top. Right?
Instantaneously.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
It's the money that you can
The
pay.
same applicable for it is applicable for Google Ads and also social media.
Yeah, same
right?
ads. Yeah.
So what matters the most, and that's quite a very nice information about comparing Google Ads versus Instagram ads, is when you run an ad on Google, you pick the keywords.
Yes.
Right, and these keywords, it's recommended to also be in your website.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm selling a house, and I pick this keyword house in my website, and if I'm in my website I have let's say cars, not houses,
Yep.
it tends to decrease my ad performance.
Yep.
Right. On the other hand, Instagram and Facebook, it's official data because I looked into that yesterday. 70 to 80% of the success of a campaign on Instagram is not the audience, is not the keywords, it's not the demographics,
Okay.
is the content creation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have a nice hook, a nice introduction, arguments, and call to actions,
Yeah.
it represents 70 to 80% of the success of your campaign. On the other hand, Google Ads is about the keywords,
Yeah.
the search terms, the structure of website.
Yeah.
So if you pick the keyword home and the keyword home is not in your website,
Yeah.
it's over. You're going to pay for nothing. You're going to lose money,
Yeah.
right? So what I'm trying to say, there are so many ways to lose money running ads,
Yeah.
and so many ways to do bad job when you're trying to do SEO, that people sometimes they go in the wrong way, right? They think, okay, I'll put money on SEO and that's it, or I'll put money on ads and that's it. So you can tell more, like, have you ever had this experience with a client who spent like a tons of money in SEO and did not get any results before they find you?
I mean, even when with me, so I'll give you this example again of a renovation company in North Van. I'll have a lot of North Van references. I have a lot of my clients there. This happened this morning? They gave me a testimonial. So they've been with me for about 16 months. For the first year, if you see their traffic, it was pretty steady. Not a lot of people coming in. They were not even ranking in the top 100 positions for the keyword renovator North Vancouver. And this morning, one of the owners, like one of the co-owners, she told me that in the last 6 weeks, they've been getting at least one call a week.
That's fantastic.
So a call wherein they actually gave a proposal to the client. So they have given out 6 proposals in the last 6 weeks approx, right? So the idea is if one of these converts, right, average customer lifetime value is, let's say, $15,000-$20,000. They get one, they get paid $20,000 in revenue, right? Which probably pays off whatever they spent in the last 16 months. And this is just the start, right? So being at it is a long-term process. And at the end of the day, all this is marketing, right? There's no right or wrong in marketing. And you cannot expect, let's say, an ad Apple did in 1984 to work in 2025. It will not. So it has evolved, right? Same as with any marketing test channel. You have to evolve.
Can I add an information?
Sure.
The expiration time of a campaign nowadays for me, when I started 10 years ago, let's say 3 months.
Yeah.
Now, to all my clients, every 3 weeks,
Yeah.
we need to redo content because the ads, they lose performance.
I wouldn't even be surprised it's 1 week in the future because things are changing so much, so quickly. Like Google does so many updates every year, and we do something like I don't plan more than 3 months, 6 months down the line because I don't know what new would be in the industry. So it's like we just do this first. Let's see how it works. Then we change if we need to. If things are going fine, we just stick with it. So you have to be very nimble about it. And trends is it plays a lot of big role in it today. If tomorrow, for some reason, a specific type of roofing is in trend, or let's say solar is in trend, right? Solar energy. Electricians who are talking about solar energies all these while will suddenly jump up in their rankings and in their searches on ChatGPT because they have been doing that for a long time. So we don't know. So we got to try and predict, but we cannot actually predict.
Fantastic.
Right? So
yeah, and that's the internet nowadays.
That's exactly how it is. So you got to be on top of things and be quick to shift across and do not need to take time. So
I was reflecting about that with a friend a week ago. So let's say 2 years ago, or let's be more precise. During COVID, developers, they were making so much money. Because the demand for developers were super high, right? They were literally choosing where they would like to work.
Yep.
Nowadays, only 5 years later, the situation is totally different.
100%.
With AI, they are afraid of losing their jobs, and there are tons of developers in the market waiting for an opportunity, right?
Yep.
So that's how fast things are changing.
Yeah, 100%. It's like Google just offered a package for their employees where they could just take it and they could just move on, like resign and get like 6 months of severance or so. And because the news that I've heard is Google AI is starting to refine Google's search algorithm, which was being done manually. So I don't know how much that of it is true, but again, based on what I've seen, it will refine. So we will need less and less people to do the work, right? And it's going to become more strategic, right? Thinking is the only thing that AI cannot do. When I say thinking, is out of the box thinking. If it's already out there on the internet, AI can do it better. But what's not there on the internet is what AI cannot do. That's what people are going to do. So it's the same with me in SEO. Like one of the simple things about creating content, right? I don't create blog articles all the time. I create checklists, tools. Could be anything.
Strategies.
Could be anything. Like something. Let's say create a tool to decide which is the best type of senior care for your parents, right? Answer some questions, and the tool will tell you, okay, these are the options, and then keep on refining on what is the right one for you. That's a very valuable tool, and it will attract a lot of backlinks, and it will gain a lot of authority with AI and with Google search. So this is the out of box thinking. But if you ask ChatGPT is like, what do I need to do about SEO? It will tell you, okay, create blog articles. These are the 10 topics to write. No, that's not it.
conventional stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to start thinking out of the box there and see what could work. And if it works, just duplicate it.
What is your biggest advice for small entrepreneurs in Canada in terms of internet visibility nowadays?
It's a path that you have to take. I mean, I'm not saying because I'm in the business and I feel that is the way, but even for my own business, even for any other businesses, there will always be people who like the feel and touch concept, right? But let's say 80%, that's 80% of your crowd, and there could be 20% of the crowd who's all online. But at the end of the day, that 20% is still a lot of business. So are you willing to let that part go, which could convert into big business, versus thinking that, okay, what I did till date is working, right? So example is e-commerce. 20 years ago, e-commerce was 0%. Today, e-commerce is a big, big business in itself. Like I don't remember when was the last time I went out trying to find a particular thing. The first thing I do is open Amazon, search for that product, see it. If I know that's the price that I'm getting at Walmart, just order it home. Why go to Walmart? And that's caused many of these big retailers to start working on home shipments. You now even can get pharmacy delivered to your house. That's what I saw in Safeway the other day. So things will change and you have to change with it. How much you need to change, I don't know. Even if you have a small budget, which is very common that small businesses never set a budget for marketing. Yeah, you want to save on that money? Yes, it will. But imagine it's always a 50-50 chance. It could go exponential or it could go zero. As Warren Buffett says, the worst is it will go to zero. But if it goes the best case scenario, it could be 5x, 10x, 20x, 30x, 100x. You don't know. So are you willing? What is the chance that you're willing to take? Is it the upside or the low side?
Fantastic. And plus, as I always comment in this podcast, everything that you create in a digital way, it's forever, right? So you create a
100%.
website, it's an investment that you do once and it's there forever. The same when you talk about a YouTube video. So you post it, you create the content, and it's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
Instagram post is going to be there forever. And regardless when, people can reach out to you based on the content you created, let's say 5 years ago, if it's still relevant, right?
Yeah.
So you have like a much more positive than negative perspective or points having a digital presence.
That is the base. I mean, that's the basics that you can do today. That's the basic that you need to do today. But the idea also comes is updating it. That's what people don't do. You don't need to revamp your website every 5 years, but if you keep updating it every month or every 2 months regularly, in 5 years you will never have to revamp a website. So you would effectively save a lot of money, yes, but at the same time you could gain more business. Like I have people who's like, oh, I just need a website. It does not bring me business because you never tried to make it bring business to you, right? And a website is both. It's a marketing tool as well as a credibility tool. It's not the same for every business. So any trades business, it will function as a marketing tool first and then a credibility tool. But for a well-established or like a high-end business, like a luxury business, or any business that has like minimum 5 figures in revenue per project, it will behave like a credibility tool first and then a marketing tool. So it all depends. Like a business consultant's website will never be a marketing tool. It will always be a credibility tool. So you got to think it that way, and you got to keep contributing what you have learned, how things have changed in your industry, because every industry is changing, right? The way you would do certain things in construction 5 years ago definitely could be different today. So have you updated that on your website? If you haven't, how do you expect AI or Google to find it? Because you have never told it that you do it. Simplest thing is, how many websites do you see where they say, oh, since so and so year, we have been doing this? They never say that. And the common mistake that I see is it's a one-person business and the website says XYZ does this. This is a one-person business. You want the AI to see that it's you who's running the business. So just make it first-person tone of voice rather than making it third person, right? So simple things that could make a difference, that could connect or disconnect with a user.
You said something really nice, because the website can provide credibility,
Yep.
or can be a marketing tool to get more clients.
Yep.
And the same happens with social media,
Yep.
because I've been talking with some entrepreneurs that they use social media literally to get more followers or to get more likes. They share memes.
Yep.
And it's not like a business orientated.
Yep.
And what I'm trying to tell people is, hey, this is a tool that you can make money,
Yep.
right? You can generate leads. You can run campaigns and get more visible. With only $20 per day,
Absolutely.
you can reach 2,000 people, right? With one single post. And the same is the website.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think people still believe that the website is just something to have, but they don't see the benefit of having a website, which can be one, for sure, for credibility, but secondly, can be a lead magnet.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely is. That's where I'm not saying every time the conversion happens, that's where 80% of the conversion happens, because you use any marketing channel, social media, Google, AI, even like flyers. Why do we have a QR code and a website mentioned on a flyer? Because we want the user to go onto our website and see what we can do and hire us for those services. So every channel, at the end of the day, you are wanting the user to come back to your website and contact you from there. And if you spend so much money, let's say creating a flyer and distributing across, let's say 5,000 people, and 10 people from that come to your website, and you make it so difficult for them to find out a way to contact you, you have lost that money, right? So might as well just easy things. So simple thing as on a mobile phone, when someone opens your website, just put the phone number out there.
100%.
Right? First thing should be a phone number, because when people are coming from a mobile phone, they are not interested in reading about you. They have a problem. They need a solution now. They just want to talk to you. They may fill up a form, but that's mostly going to be outside working hours. But if it's during working hours, they're 99% of the time is going to click on that phone number. And I've got people in the past saying, oh, I don't want people to call me. If you don't want people to call you, don't have a smartphone. Simple as that, because your phone number is out there some way or the other.
Agreed.
Right? Why not make it easy for your customer who's put in the attention, which we were talking about, with the intent. So attention plus intent is a very rare combination, to come to your website and try to get in touch with you, and you don't want them to get in touch with you.
I totally agree.
So that's where we're losing it.
Karan, one of the most insightful podcasts and conversation. I learned a lot from you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
So my last question is, how do you project the Web Geek company in the next 5 years?
I'm not a guy who works on goals, to be honest. I mean, my history says whenever I put down goals, I never reach them. So I don't know how things pivot. Like, who would have thought in January 2022 that June 2022 would be different with AI coming in? So very difficult to project where I see my business going. But one thing for sure, I will continue to do what my expertise is, what my passion is, which is helping people digitally, because that's where I have been doing it for quite a long time. And I'm exploring new ways to help businesses through something called as lead-based SEO, wherein businesses who don't have like big budgets, but I see there is a huge potential for them to gain a lot of traffic. So for me to scale as well. So getting them more business and me scaling them with them. So I'm exploring new avenues, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's going to be something definitely related to a website, whether it's SEO or something else.
Okay, I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Guys, this guy right in front of me do not have social media. So please create a social media.
I have social media, but I'm not very active on it because I'm a very shy and introvert guy, to be honest. Though I don't look like one, but I am not a very social media guy. And I keep a lot of things to myself. So
yeah. So that's the thing.
The
okay,
thing,
don't
yeah.
think social media as a tool in order to share your personal life. No,
Yeah,
it's not
no,
that.
absolutely.
It's to share your knowledge, right? So right after this podcast, I
Okay.
will generate like a 10 reels.
Sounds good.
And I definitely do like to tag you. So people,
Sure.
you already have your 10 first reels for
Okay.
your Instagram and social media because people need to see you.
Sounds good.
So I'm really glad to have you here.
Thank you.
I hope all you guys enjoy this moment and learn a lot from Karan. So that's all for today. That's our episode. Stay tuned. Take care. Thank you so much, Karan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for having me.
What makes the world go round is top about that cha-ching sound like we count bills by the pound is we can't stop 'cause we live it for the money. What makes the world go round is top about that cha-ching sound like we count bills by the pound is
Don't stop, rock the block, cause once we get started, then we just can't stop. And when you see the Lamborghini, then you know what's up. Because cheap is cheap and the talk is talk, yeah. Now we chillin' on a cruise ship, take a jet to Korea, how we do it. All the players are playing the game, head is looking lame, so we started getting money and you know we stay paid. Size,